Buckeye Nation, what's poppin'? Crazy Dog coming at you on the Buckin' Crazy YouTube channel with my Ohio State Buckeyes, Ohio Bobcats Week 3 game preview as our 2-0, number 1 ranked, reigning, defending national champions Ohio State Buckeyes welcome the 1-1 Ohio Bobcats of the MAC Conference to the Horseshoe for the first and hopefully not our last home regular season night game of the year. Of course, last year, Ohio State had one regular season home night game, and ironically enough, it was week 3 against Western Michigan. Now, hopefully, the networks bless us with at least one more regular season home night game because, as we've seen in the past, Ohio Stadium at night is one of the most imposing and hostile environments in the country. And I need to see more of it. Not to mention, for recruiting, it's a great chance for the kids to come out at night and see what Ohio Stadium really has to offer. I mean, just imagine what we saw against Texas in terms of the environment. Imagine that at night. You would get that times 1,000, 100%. That place was already lit enough. Imagine that game at night. Well, there you have it. Now, of course, you look at this matchup against Ohio University. Historically, we've faced them 7 times, although, of course, 2010, that year doesn't count because of tattoos and stuff. But that was the last time Ohio State faced Ohio, and of course, that was also the now infamous Rufus beats up Brutus game, where the guy who portrayed Rufus, Ohio's mascot, decided to have a little bit of fun and also be a low-key douchebag and chase down and try to beat up Brutus as the Buckeyes were coming out of the tunnel before the game. Yeah, there's videos on it. It's freaking hilarious. And of course, that would actually be the most fight that Ohio would show that entire day, as Ohio State would take care of business, beating Ohio 43-7. And as we know now, that game didn't even count. So technically, the last time Ohio State faced Ohio was 2008, where Ohio State won 26-14. Technically. The record books say it. Now you look at what these two teams have gone through so far this year. Of course, Ohio State, they beat Texas in a nail biter. It was a brawler kind of game, barn burner, slobber knocker, You can think of all the words to describe it, but it was a banger. And then last week, they took Grambling State behind the shed and yellowed them 70-0. Now on the other side, Ohio went to Rutgers and took them to the limit, losing 34-31 to the Scarlet Knights. So yeah, impressive showing in a defeat. Not bad. And then last week, they welcomed West Virginia to town. Yeah, that's a rarity. A Power 4 team on the road. And then, better yet, Ohio beats them. And of course, as we know now, West Virginia losing that game, in turn, cost them a chance to host College Game Day. And I know Mountaineer fans were as pissed off as anybody because, of course, Pitt took care of business. They did what they were supposed to do. But West Virginia couldn't beat Ohio. Like, come on, man. How the hell do you lose to a MAC school? And you consider yourself a Power 4 team playing in the weak-ass Big 12. Classic. Classic, right? Now, a little fun fact for you, which I'll get into in a little bit. Ohio hasn't lost to an in-state team since 1921. I'll dig more into that a little bit later. I can't even tell you the last time we lost to a MAC team at home, let alone the in-state teams, right? Yeah, so before I really dig into this game, let's go over the visit list. Now, this list isn't the largest list. There's some interesting names. The most interesting of all, of course, is 2026 offensive lineman Landry Brady. I believe that's how you say his last name. He's currently an NC State commit, but he recently received an offer to Ohio State, and it sounds like Ohio State's probably going to land his services pretty soon. Maybe even after this game. How about that, right? Imagine Ohio State takes care of business tomorrow night, and then after the game, we get a commitment from Landry. Now, Landry goes to Menor High School. So already, in-state kid. And you know how it goes, right? These in-state kids would love nothing more than to not only get an offer, but also have the ability to play at Ohio State. I mean, it's already a dream to get an offer from Ohio State, but to have a chance to play for them, yeah, I'm pretty sure Landry will respectfully tell NC State, I like what you guys are doing, but I just got an offer from Ohio State. And you know how it is, right? You get an offer from your dream school, it's an offer you can't really turn down. But we'll see what happens. Some other names: 2026 edge rusher Carter Kessler, 2027 offensive lineman Carter Jones, Cole Ryder, also an offensive lineman. You have a couple D linemen and Nate Hamba and Tommy Riordan. Defensive backs Monsana Torbert and corner Riley Drew. And of course, Jeremiah's brother Angelo Smith will once again be in attendance. We even have a couple 2028 kids coming to town in offensive lineman Colin Burris, wide receiver Lorenzo McMullen, and defensive back Pole Moala, who I believe is the cousin of Epi Satanali, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's, in the family tree of Epi, so that's pretty cool. He's a relative, so that's pretty dope. And then, of course, 2029. Damn, we're already talking about 2029 kids. Running back Braden Bolts will be in town. Now, of course, there could be more names added, which I expect there will be. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. And then in terms of the boom watches, I did add one new name, and that is, of course, 3-star offensive tackle Landry Brady from the class of 2026. Now, if you're wondering what exactly is a boom watch, these are players that have been crystal balled to Ohio State in the recent past. I'll say the last month or so. Now, you might see some familiar names pop up. If Steve Wiltfong or any of those guys change their prediction, right? You might see that because National Signing Day is still a few months away. And I expect Ohio State to still be relatively active in the class of 2026. I mean, you look at the class right now, it's still strong, but it is kind of lacking in some spots. But the one coach who hasn't been lacking at all is Coach Bowen of the offensive line. He has been doing work from the moment he stepped on campus as the new O-line coach. Literally, he got to work and he landed some studs, and I don't expect him to stop anytime soon. I expect Ohio State to be heavy in terms of trying to flip some kids. Names that we've heard of and names that we haven't heard of, right? But we'll see what happens. Now, getting into my keys to a Buckeye W tomorrow night. Number one, like I said last week, don't overlook Grambling. Well, this week, definitely don't overlook Ohio University because, as we've seen the first 2 weeks, they played their two Power 4 opponents very tough. They damn near beat Rutgers, and they beat West Virginia at home. I mean, they're not the toughest competition, but still, it's Power 4. They damn near took 2 wins from 2 solid Power 4 teams. Pretty impressive. Number 2, play a clean 4 quarters of mistake-free football. You can't give Ohio any more chances to do damage to you than they're already going to have. right? I mean, they have a good quarterback, and you don't want him to get any more chances to beat you than they're already going to have, which I don't think they're going to have many at all. But still, you don't want to be out here, throwing picks and fumbling the ball and going three and out over and over and over again, because that'll give Ohio a lot of confidence, and you don't want that. Now, number three, force mistakes and take advantage. Like last week, they forced that fumble, took it to the house immediately. Force interceptions, force fumbles, turnover on downs, as we've seen. It happened quite a few times this year, especially in the Texas game. But yeah, force turnovers, force mistakes, and take advantage. And like I said, the fun fact, Ohio State hasn't lost to an in-state school since 1921. That was against now Division III Oberlin College. Yeah, crazy, right? That's the last team that Ohio State lost to is now in Division III. That's nuts. Now, getting into my players to watch, I'm not just going on individual players this week. I'm going entire units, position groups. On offense, it's the running backs. Haven't really seen much from the running backs, and I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more of Bo Jackson because he looked great last week. He looked amazing last week. I mean, the other running backs haven't really shown me much. CJ Donaldson's looked decent, but James Peoples, man, very underwhelming from him so far. I wonder if this is the week where the running backs finally introduce themselves and they go off and have a big game. And then on defense, I'm going with the front four because, again, we've been lacking in terms of production from the starters up front on defense. Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, I need more from you. Caden and Edric are dogs. They're going to do their thing. But I need the edge rushers to show up. CJ, Bo Atkinson, again, same thing. Logan George, probably going to see him this week. What are we going to see from him? And how about Zion Grady? Got his black stripe removed, which means the training wheels are off. And I expect Ohio State to unleash him at times this year, maybe even this week. I bet you we're going to have at least 8 or so legit edge rushers that they're going to be switching in to keep these guys fresh throughout the long season. Another guy that got his black stripe removed was Jarquez Carter. With that, again, their training wheels are off, and it's time to let them hunt. So, Matt Patricia, do your thing. Get those guys involved. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for the players to watch. Now, getting into my prediction, and as you'd expect, I think Ohio State will take care of business again this week. I have Ohio State winning 42-6, and the only points that OU gets are on field goals. And I think Ohio's streak of not allowing a single point in the red zone will continue. Yeah, I think those field goals will come from beyond the red zone. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And man, it's gonna be fun watching football tomorrow. Not really having to stress out too much about Ohio State. Very rarely does that happen, right? Usually, when we play a night game, it's against a Power 4 opponent, and I'm kind of stressing out the whole day while watching the other games. Well, this week, no stressing out here. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully by tomorrow night after this game is over, I'll be doing my recap talking about another dominant Ohio State W. So yeah, with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog coming at you on the Bucking Crazy YouTube channel. And with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog. Let's go Bucks. OH, I'm out. Bye-bye. Yeah.